Hi, welcome everybody. We have a really exciting group today and we have a lot of things to talk about. I want to take the first minute to wish good wishes to Senator Mitch McConnell, who fell yesterday. And as a polio, you know what that feels like. And they took him to hospital and they haven't done any updates. So I don't know if he's injured himself or it just scared the hell out of him, as it does us if we should fall. So I want to wish good wishes to him as well. We're going to start off with just about 3 minutes. Ken has put together a little photo montage of Judy Heuman, who died on the 4th, March 4th, a great day, and had a funeral service yesterday, which was very moving, and we all learned a lot about Judy. And as Judy's niece said during her little speech, Rachel Maddow spoke about her on Monday night's show, and Rachel broke down in tears. So it was really very moving to know how she has impacted. And I'm going to start with one little personal story. While I never met her, I remember having to go to an inaccessible restaurant once. And New York City doesn't have alleys like Chicago does. So finding a back door was pretty difficult. And then I had to pass through the garbage area and then into the dish machine area and then through the kitchen with a slippery floor, and finally made my way into the dining room, and of course had to repeat that on the way out. And all I could think of yesterday during Judy's funeral was she opened the front door for me and for millions of other people, because it was quite a day for me. And yesterday, remembering how stressful that was, I just wanted to put that out there. So Ken, if you would start the little video. Judy Heuman experienced a world that was not created with her in mind. And instead of molding herself into the world she found herself in, she created, nay, demanded a world which she could be part of. She didn't do this just for herself, but for every single human being who has ever suffered to be seen and not treated with anything less than full dignity and full humanity. She created a unified agenda, one that left no one behind and empowered them to fight for dignity and equality. She identified and broke down every wall built on exclusionary policies meant to prevent the disabled community from fulfilling their full potential. She taught us by example to dream that the world could be better, that we should never settle for things as they are. Judy, we commit to run and rise and roll to make life better. Your memory is a blessing.
What a loss for our community.
Yes, for the world.
Yep.
So John Nanni, I want to move over to you for just a minute. You took on a trip to Washington, D.C. And can you just fill us in with some basic questions? How often have you done this, or is this the first time? How do you set up your meetings with the people you need to talk to? How do you identify them? And what do you think they gain from meeting you and you from meeting them?
Okay, well, it's a Rotary's Polio Plus Advocacy Task Force for the U.S. Congress. The United States government is the second largest donor to the effort to eradicate polio. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation being the first, U.S. government second, and then Rotary International third, and then other countries and other organizations follow from there. So this was my first in-person time. Last year we did the meetings with the congressional leaders and their staff, mainly on the appropriation committees. Last year was Zoom. This year in person. We were there. I was there for 4 days, meeting with congressional leaders and their staffs to talk about continuing the funding for polio eradication. And it was really an incredible lesson for me to learn and see how the wheels of Congress actually occur, and all the people that are there asking for things. What was interesting is that we met with both Republicans and Democrats, and we had we had support from both sides of the aisle. There are a number, you mentioned McConnell, there are a number of congressional leaders that are polio survivors or have polio survivors in their life as family members. And we had tremendous reception, and it was really an example of how one can actually do advocacy for polio, because my face was the one that showed them that polio is a lifelong illness, not just something that you have and then get over. And they were very receptive to my message. And I really feel last year we got $20 million more than we had asked for. This year, with a change in control of the House, we're not sure where that will go. Their goal is to reduce the budget, so we're not sure. Hopefully, we will at least stay the same. The monies go to CDC and what's called US Aid, and they're the ones that really buy the vaccines and do the support the labs, 87 labs throughout the world that really, not just with polio, but COVID and other diseases that the Polio Plus program actually supports. So environmental sampling, and education to those countries where we're trying to vaccinate on the importance of vaccination. That's probably one of the most expensive things. And hiring women to go in Muslim countries to go door to door. And that's where we get the most success on vaccinating kids, where kids aren't missed. Right. In the Muslim countries, a man cannot go into a house if the man of the house is not there. A woman can, so less kids are skipped during the national immunization days. I had a very interesting advocacy opportunity yesterday. Our Rotary Club hosted as guest speaker the Lieutenant Governor of Delaware. And here in Delaware, we know that she is also, her profession is a nurse. And she's a teacher at the university of Delaware for healthcare professionals. And after the meeting, I met with her and her communications director and talked about the possibility of speaking to her classes. And she was very receptive. I got an email back from her communications director and said, thank you for talking to us. My grandmother was a polio survivor and suffered with post-polio syndrome until she was 92. So we're out there, and whatever opportunity you have to talk to, especially healthcare workers, just like Alex did yesterday with BB Health. It's really an important factor because so many people don't know it. And my goal with healthcare is that diagnosis is very, very hard because it mimics, post-polio syndrome mimics fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue syndrome, and the treatment is completely opposite. And it's important for healthcare workers to know that there's other possible diagnoses, not just what's on the surface. So thank you for letting me share those things.
Oh, that was fascinating to me to see you all go down there, and I just wondered what the response was and what you think you accomplished. So thank you for taking the lead on that one.
Thank you. Very, very, very positive.
Excellent. And now, John McFarland, it's all yours, baby.
Thank you very much. And to Shilpa, welcome. You're most welcome to our meeting, and thank you very much for actually talking to us. It's nearly 9 o'clock at night where you are, so I'm more than happy that you've given us your time and very appreciative of it. I'd like just to ask you a few questions about you. You are the Chief Operating Officer and CEO of a group which actually deals in an area which I'm quite familiar with. You're into heavy engineering, steel pipes and everything else. And going back some years ago, I was the commercial director of British Steel and actually worked closely with Tata. So I know where you are, and you are living in Mumbai with your family, I believe. But let's go back. Tell me about yourself, about when you got polio and how you found things in the first few years.
First of all, thank you for inviting me and having me part of this wonderful group. I mean, whatever I've heard so far, it's quite interesting and fascinating to hear, and the kind of work you guys are doing. So hats off to you guys. Coming to me, I got polio when I was 2 months old. So practically you can say I have polio since my birth. When I was in around 4th grade, we have this religious place which is just 200-300 meters away from my house, and you have to go there to study there. But because of polio, I couldn't go there every single day. All my neighbor kids, my siblings, they used to go there. So during Diwali, I am a Jain, so they don't burst crackers. And in the Pachala, what we call, they had told that if the kids don't burst crackers, they will get a gift. So they gave gifts to everybody who used to go there every single day. But because I never used to go there regularly, they did not give me gifts. It was a small compass box, colorful compass box. But I was very upset and I started crying. So my mother bought the compass box from outside and gave it to me. But I was not happy or not excited to receive that compass box. I thought if I had not bursted crackers and that was the precondition, so why I didn't get it from the Pachala? Why my mother had to buy it for me from outside. Although my compass box was the most beautiful one, but I still remember that I could not enjoy using that compass box. That was my first realization that I was different from the other kids, whether it was my siblings, my neighboring kids, or somebody around me or my school kids. That was my first, I would say, real life acquaintances when I realized, oh, there's something different from me compared to the other kids.
So you went on to school, and I noticed from your interview in the paper that you were in a situation where you couldn't actually go through, you couldn't communicate in the physical activities. So you actually turned around and decided, like a lot of people with polio or other physically disabling conditions, you actually threw yourself into education and into the intellectual side of things. Did that endear you to people, or did you to your colleagues, to the other people around you, or did it actually, as I've seen in some cases, push you away from them because they were doing all the physical stuff and you were doing all the brain power?
See, in school, no, as you rightly said, I couldn't participate in any co-curricular activities, as we call it over here. So slowly, I was being, away from my friends or, school colleagues. I wouldn't call them friends as such, because I could never bond with them. I mean, during lunch breaks, snack breaks, or PT classes, I could never go out with them, run around with them. I mean, our classes used to be on the fourth floor or fifth floor. So I had to take the elevator, whereas they used to go running down. So I never really got a chance to bond with those kids. So as such, I never had any friends in school. Um, Similarly, we had this extracurricular activities like Scout and Guide, RSP, NCC. So the best of the lot, you used to be intelligent, good in studies, and they used to by default get selected into NCC or RSP. But the last of the lot is to go to Scout and Guide. I mean, I respect Scout and Guides a lot. There's no doubt in that. But in school, during those days, NCC was supposed to be the best. But I did not get selected in NCC or RSP. I was by default put in Scouts and Guides. And that was like, I mean, why? I mean, I was good in studies, whatever co-curricular activities I used to get to participate in. I was very good. I had won inter-school debate competition, science quiz competition. But when it came to selection, it was only done based on the physical criteria. And I was not selected. That day when I went home, I cried. And I couldn't explain to, my mother or my siblings that why I was crying. Or, what was it that was hurting me. So probably that was the first thing that, I need to do something about myself. That, people start respecting me, treating me with dignity. So, things were going on in my mind that, something is different and I need to do something different about that. As I was growing up, I come from a very conservative society where during those days girls were not educated. So I remember one fine day when I was eating my dinner, my granny told my father casually that, you should stop her education because you'll need a lot of money for dowry to get her married, and my school fees was 8 rupees a month, like which is not a lot of money, but still, and that really hit me hard. I mean, why? I mean, they cannot even spend so much on my education just because they have to get me married. And in the first place, why do I even need to get married? Is marriage so important that I have to, keep everything aside and just focus on that? So that was again a triggering point which made me think, that, I have to do something about myself. Similarly, going little bit when I growing up, all my relatives, my neighbors, everyone used to come and tell, oh, Bichari, she has polio. What will she do? How will she lead her life? She will be a burden on you, throughout her entire life. And, all those things really, really triggered in me that now it is enough. I have to do something about it. It cannot be dependent on anybody whatsoever. And more importantly, because of me, why my parents had to suffer, why they were pitied upon or why they were made feel sorry about it. So when I reached grade 9, I had decided in my mind that okay, I will focus on my education, be something in society, and make my parents feel proud about it. So when I came to 10th grade, I studied, I focused only on my education, got good grades, got into good college, and then after getting into college, I did my CA, then I did my CS, then I did my management from one of the premier schools in India, then I did my CS, and then I started working in the corporate sector.
It seems to me that what you did in the first instance was give yourself confidence to do things. do you think that that is what makes you such a good advocate for both being an example or an exemplar for people, for women and for people who've got a disability?
See, that confidence comes from a lot of things. First, I decided to accept, I accept my limitation that, okay, I cannot walk. But having said that, what all things can I do? What all things I'm good at? So first, that confidence came by accepting my limitation. Second thing, I started ignoring what people used to say. I mean, during college days, my CA, my MBA, there were a lot of issues, lot of challenges that I had to face, but I kept my focus very clear. My goal was very clear that I have to become something in life for which my parents are proud about. So then eventually nothing mattered to me. As they say, if you're focused and you're disciplined, you'll achieve whatever you want in your life.
You're back. I lost you for a minute. Being in Ireland sometimes, and especially with a storm, the internet can play problems, as I know it does sometimes in Mumbai as well. So you went to college, you went right the way through. Did you find you obviously, your parents had society problems as well because you were disabled, you were female, you are female, I should say, and they were being told, save your money, use it for a dowry, and go from there. Did that actually have a great influence on you and on the way that you thought and on the pressures that were put onto your parents?
See, my parents obviously have always under pressure, but for me, I wouldn't say that had put me a pressure, but that had motivated me that, I have to do something in life. Rather than taking it negatively and, trying to sulk about it, I thought this was my challenge, and people who said, "Hey, boss, you need to give a lot of dowry to get her married," should actually come and ask for my hand in marriage. So that actually motivated me to do good in life.
Yes, yes, yes. And you also have actually gone out and shown that disability is no barrier, because I know you do paragliding, don't you?
I have done paragliding, I have done parasailing, kayaking, I've gone on treks, I do swimming, you name it, and I must have tried my hands on all the sports.
The other thing sort of going through was that you set your heart on being independent and being able to get around. So you started riding a two-wheeled vehicle to start with, so a motorbike or a scooter, and then went on to getting a car. And that I expect brought you into contact with more people, because knowing just everybody in society when you're young, if you've got a car, you're everybody's friend. They all want to ride with you. Did that actually make things easier for you in society?
No, I started riding when I was in college. When my driver used to not come to work, I couldn't attend my college. So, somewhere that was not helping me. And my father was like, why she has to depend on the driver? So he got me a scooter. But when I started riding a scooter, people used to not be comfortable sitting with me. They were like, first of all, she's a girl. How can a girl ride a scooter? And on top of it, my scooter has a sidecar. I cannot balance a scooter. A two-wheeler I cannot balance. So I have a sidecar to balance that. So initially, people used to not sit with me. They were like, "Oh, this is a scooter with a sidecar. Who will sit in it? What will people think about it if they see us in such kind of a vehicle?" Because a two-wheeler with a sidecar is not a common sight in Bombay or India. It is like a looked down upon kind of vehicle. So initially, nobody used to prefer to sit with me. But once when I finished my chartered accountancy course, then people started respecting me, and then people were like, "Okay, Shilpa, can you give us a ride? Can you come with you? Can you sit with you?" So getting a two-wheeler never helped me get friends.
So in fact, getting your scooter with its sidecar gave you independence, and you went on to get more independence, and it allowed you to go through college, which gave you your background. I'm looking back on my own life in one respect, because you also learned to swim. You went to swimming lessons. Did you have difficulty in actually getting the swimming lessons?
Oh, I had fun getting into a swimming class. I mean, I wouldn't say it was difficult. I say was a funny thing. I mean, see, I didn't know swimming till 2019, and as you all said, post-polio syndrome. So, slowly, I realized that I was losing my strength. So that is when I decided that I need to keep, do some form of exercise. And my husband suggested that probably swimming would be the best form of exercise for you. So when I decided I wanted to learn swimming, I went to private coaches. They said, "Ki, we cannot teach you, you'll have to go to the club." When I went to the club, they said, "We cannot allow you to enter the swimming pool. First you learn swimming and then you come here." So, this was becoming a chicken and an egg situation. For 2 months, I tried meeting various coaches, various private tuition classes, various clubs, but nobody entertained. They are like, you go learn and come. They are like, you go and learn over there. Then one fine day, I just went to one of the clubs and sat in front of the secretary. I said, "Unless and until you allow me to learn swimming, I am not going out of here." I waited there for almost 3 hours, and then he realized that this girl is not going to go. So then he told me, "Okay, I will allow you one batch I have, which is in the peak May summer. You can imagine how hot it is in Bombay." He said 1:30 to 2:30, I have one batch. You can go and learn swimming over there. I said, "Fine, accepted." So within 15 days, I had to learn swimming. Otherwise, he wouldn't allow me. So when my first day of the class, there were 40 students in the class, 39 standing on one side, I was on the another side. And people started giving me staring looks, and they're like, she's not able to walk, how is she going to get into the water? How is she going to learn swimming? And if since she has come, our time will also be wasted. The coach will not able to focus on us. And nobody, they all started passing comments on me, but nobody tried to come and talk to me or help me or encourage me to, okay, chalo, we all will learn it together. But fortunately, my head coach was a superb lady. She said, "Shilpa, don't worry, I will teach you." So 39 were learning on another side of the pool. I was learning on this side of the pool. And within 7 days, I started swimming with the float. Those other kids were still struggling, but I started learning swimming with the float. And then I was like happy, yeah, I've done what I had thought about and stuff like that. And the moment she used to remove the float, I used to drown because I wanted to learn swimming with float, without float didn't matter to me. But then my miss was like, "Hey, every time you cannot carry float along with you, otherwise how will you manage swimming? You'll have to carry a float." But I was like, no, I know swimming with float. I'll buy a float, and I was comfortable doing it. But my teacher did not stop there. She wanted me to swim like a normal person. She tried every trick in the book to make me learn without float, but because I had that mindset that I'm okay learning with the swimming with the float, I did not even attempt also. Then, on the second last day, she just shouted at me. "Ki, After I'm trying to teach you swimming without the float in so many days, and you're not understanding and not listening, and all sort of things." And I was like, "Oh no, a tutor cannot come and shout at me." In my entire career, in my school, my college, never ever the teacher has shouted at me. So again, that hit me hard. How can that happen with me? So next day when I went to my class, I told the sub coach, "You remove the float, no matter what happens to me, you leave me in the water." I drowned thrice in water, but finally fourth time I came up. So that is how I learned swimming without float. And today I swam in rivers, in oceans, everywhere.
Interesting. I know I'm talking with you, but I'll just relate something to you. When I got polio when I was 18 months old, and they gave me aquatherapy, which put me into sort of the big hot tubs with the physiotherapists. When I went to school, I was obviously used to water, and the swimming instructor at the swimming pool where we went at my school, he said, right, we'll put you with a float, see what you can do. And I was able to get on, and all the others were like you. They were all floundering around and everything else. And at about the age of 5 years old, he said, I think you can swim. And he just picked me up off the side of the pool and threw me in. No float, no rings, no nothing, just threw me in. And the idea was, if you come back up, you can swim. If you stay down, we failed. So it seems to be a common approach in that respect. Now, you went through, changing tack slightly, you went through college. Can I ask what, when did you get married, when you were at college or after?
No, I got married after I finished my chartered accountancy. I mean, I finished my graduation, I finished my chartered accountancy, then I got married.
So your children are young?
Pardon me?
Your children are young, they are not very old?
Yeah, my son is 14 years old.
He's 14. Okay. And so you're dealing with all that as well as running, because I noticed on one of the things on the website about you, it says COO, mother, wife, etc. So you're doing what normal people do in that respect. But at some stage inside of your college career and inside your social surroundings, you at some stage turned around and said to yourself, I've got something I can give back. Am I right?
Yes.
And why did you feel that you got something to give back?
So there's a lot of reasons to that. The first and the foremost is that, what I went through, I didn't want others to go through. I had a loving family, a supporting, my father, my sister, my brother, and then later on my husband. They all had always encouraged me to do what I have done. And, that is the reason I am where I am today. But, not many people get the support system in life. So I thought, if I have achieved something in life, why not give it back? If God has made me so capable, it's my duty to give it back to the other people in the society. So that is one of the most important motivator in life to, give back to society.
Giving back to society also means not just the general society, but do you have contact with polio support groups or polio groups in Mumbai or in India itself?
No, unfortunately, this is the first support group which I have come across. I do not have any connected. After I received my award, we have started a scholarship wherein we are trying to fund education for disabled people who want to pursue this course. So for that reason, we are trying to get in touch with a lot of our friends and families and extended people. But otherwise, as such, I am not in touch with any polio support group as of now.
Just for the others who are listening to us, I think it's worth pointing out that you don't actually only look at polio or physical disability. You've got 3 potential candidates for your program who've got visual impairments, if I'm not mistaken. So, your work spans, or your vision spans across all sorts of disabilities and disadvantage.
Yes.
And I think you've committed yourself to trying to help 100 people over 10 years. Am I correct?
Yes. Yes, we have, I have pledged from my personal savings 10 lakh rupees, so that in next 10 years I can help 100 people with any kind of disabilities who need any kind of help. See, this fund is just a medium. What I want to do is to, help them beyond that. When I was pursuing my this degree, we needed to go and work with some other chartered accountants, so we get hands-on experience of how work is to be done. But during, I was a rank holder in my CA foundation, and still I never got that, right opportunity. every place where I used to apply for work, they used to reject me. And I used to, during that time, I used to think, okay, there's some fault with me. I may not have written the answers properly. I may not have given the interview properly. But now at inside, when I look back, because purely because of my polio or my disability, I was rejected. So, more than the money, I want to help people to get the right kind of opportunities for them. It shouldn't happen to just because they have some kind of disability, they are at a disadvantage, and then they lose out on a lot of opportunities in their life.
So in that sense, you are actually advocating for people with disabilities, showing and saying that they are talking about that. That means that you are not just a person who runs their own business, family, but you're also an advocate for what people want to do and advocate. And I think your message is, to people that you're talking to is, if you want to do it, you can.
I feel disability is more of a mind issue than a physical issue. If you decide from your mind that you have to do it, you will do it no matter what.
Do you ever meet discrimination yourself these days?
Sorry?
Sorry, we're getting problem. Do you ever meet discrimination yourself these days? Do you get people who turn around and say you shouldn't be doing this, or in your position as a person with a disability, etc. That why are you doing this? Why are you pushing yourself like this?
I think there's some internet issue. Can you repeat the question? I'm really sorry.
I think are we having problems, Shilpa? Can you hear me?
I didn't hear your full question. I lost you in between.
Okay. Let me ask you, what is your message to people who are discouraged because they've got a disability? What is your message to them?
See, life is full of challenges. If you face challenges, just ignore them and move ahead. You have two choices in life. Either you get stuck at the challenges or you fight those challenges, overcome and move ahead. So people, wherever you are discriminated, just ignore them and try to move ahead. If there is one road closed, I am sure God will open another 100 roads. So look for another road and try moving ahead.
And do you believe that just one person can make a change in society, or do you think that one person, well, we've seen an example with the little video at the beginning with Judy Heuman, that one person can actually change society? And do you think that society in the Indian subcontinent towards disability can be changed, and that because there are polio people all over the subcontinent, do you think that you can actually be an example to them and to actually help show them and other people with disabilities that you can succeed against the odds?
There are so many examples where for one person had started any movement and then slowly people joined the movement and it become a large gathering. Similarly, somebody has to start, so why not me? Why should I wait for someone else to come and do that for me? Why not me? If I have the capability, okay, I might face some challenges, some issues in life, but then everybody faces them. I don't see any reason to, make a big issue out of facing challenges. Okay, my challenges might be a little bit more difficult compared to a normal person. But I definitely feel that one person can definitely bring a change. At least you start bringing that change, people around you will see that. Point in case when, as I said, I come from a very conservative society. Earlier, girls were not made to study. Nowadays, I see so many parents coming to me and telling them, because of you, we have telling our girls, study, make a career, do something about yourself, try to be independent. So when I started my journey, I had never thought, what impact I will have. But I knew that if I am in the right course, I will definitely make an impact somewhere someday.
So what way do you think that we internationally could better advocate for people with disabilities? You can't hear me. No. Okay.
Can you type the question? I am really sorry.
It's all right. I think you can hear me now. What way do you think we can better advocate internationally for people with disabilities?
We can see. This was I came across this kind of a group for the first time. But if I think if there are a lot of such support groups, lot of such advocacy groups, and especially inter-country groups where we can, interact with each other, understand each other's challenges, I think this can be a most good idea to, do it.
Shilpa, I've got a feeling that there are going to be some people who want to ask you some questions. So I'm going to say, Ken, can you go back? Oh, it's John Nanni. We have an advocate called John Nanni, who is Delaware John. He's Delaware John from the state of Delaware in the USA. I'm UK John, although I live in Ireland. And I think, John, you have got the questions.
I have a couple, and I'm going to ask the person to unmute themselves. Dominica, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. I was a little late, but I'm very happy that I heard all of I think most of her presentation, and I'm extremely impressed. My question was, when you were at the university level, were any adjustments made to accommodate, for example, a wheelchair or any of your other needs? Because I know that this can be a problem. People may be able to access a place at a university or a school, but maybe the building is designed in a way that makes it very inaccessible for you to move around in there. I was wondering how you managed when you were at university.
No, unfortunately, my college did not make any adjustments. I had to climb stairs. I used to take double or triple amount of the time to reach my classroom compared to the other kids. But as I said earlier, my focus and my goal was very clear. I need to become something, make my parents proud. So then all these things did not deter me. Okay, at times I used to feel sorry for myself. But when I used to think about my goal, all this used to really not matter to me.
Thank you for that. I was wondering too, have there been any changes in India with, for example, public buildings? Is there now a requirement that new buildings be wheelchair accessible, for example? Because this is now happening in my country, in Jamaica. But of course, a lot of older buildings are really not wheelchair accessible. And I often go into buildings and look around.
Not much is happening in India also. There is, I would say, 10% of awareness. But as they say, there's only stuck to awareness, but actual implementation, India needs to go a long, long, long way. There are so many places where, I have to keep going there, or somebody has to carry me and put me there, or, a lot of adjustments need to happen if I have to access certain places.
Okay. Jim Arnett, unmute yourself and ask your question. Part of it was answered.
Yeah, yes, it was. Shilpa, thank you very much for sharing your remarkable story with us today. And specifically, you did mention that you have a loving family member that helped you. But my question is that sometimes I think, and I've heard this from some of the groups here in the U.S., that siblings sometimes resent the care and the attention given to a survivor when they did not have polio. And I wondered, did you have any experiences with your kids growing, or with your family and your siblings growing up? And then also, have you continued to involve your family in your activities that you currently are undertaking?
Fortunately, I was never ever discriminated, or my parents never ever treated me specially. We are four siblings, three sisters, one brother. All four of us were treated equally. All of four of us got equal opportunities, and I love my siblings. Till date, I meet them on every single day. We have to talk to each other every single day. I mean, I'm very close to my elder brother. Whatever happens, I need to text him or call him, and we have a lovely bond with each other. So fortunately, in my case, my family, my siblings were the biggest support system for me.
So just to follow up, so are they involved with your company or with the activities directly, your siblings?
No, as I said, coming from a conservative society, two of my sisters are not working. They are housewives, and my brother, he has his own business. I work independently, he works independently.
Well, it sounds
In
like
fact,
you were
we both
very,
are not in the same city also.
it sounds like you were very blessed with your family, like many of us.
I am blessed with my family.
And Angela, you have something to post? Go ahead, Angela, unmute yourself.
Okay, now I have to go back and read it. Thank you so much for this conversation, and John for finding her. If you could advocate for two things that would have the most significant impact for the community with disabilities, what might those be, either in terms of two things that would be really easier to do and fast wins, or two things that wouldn't be overly challenging but would have the most long-term impact?
First, I think inclusiveness and awareness these are two things, which need to be done. I mean, I will share my personal experiences. Most in India or in Bombay, there are separate schools for normal school, for disabled school kids, for tribal kids. And because, people have not, during their growing up years, they have not seen the other people. When all of a sudden they grow up and they meet or they interact, there is a shock or a discomfort looking at them. But if the education system is itself inclusive, where everybody is educated togetherness, that acceptance comes very easily. So I would really advocate, for an inclusive education system where everybody is educated, together. Maybe there might be certain modification or certain changes which can be done, but at least at the entry level itself, all the kids should be educated together. Second, I would say, that consciousness or awareness is needed. I mean, what happens is whenever you see a disabled, people in subconsciously come and try to help that. And I feel that if I have decided that I'm stepping out, I know my limitations and I know how will I have to adjust. But the moment, somebody comes and offers you help without asking you, it shatters your self-confidence. Then it makes you think for 1 second that you really think I can't do it. So, that self-awareness or, that thing is also equally important. People need to be made aware that if somebody has come out, some disabled is among themselves, he or she is aware about his limitations and he knows how to deal with it. If they need help, they will ask for it. You, by giving them unsolicited help, you are indirectly trying to pity them, which makes them, not so comfortable.
Thank you. I have one question. What is your main form of mobility? Is it in a wheelchair?
No, I wear a caliper.
I'm sorry?
A caliper, how do I explain you?
Braces, John.
Braces,
Braces.
okay. Great.
Yeah.
And crutches or just?
No crutches or caliper.
Okay, very good. Good. Thank you. John McFarland, it's yours.
Thank you very much indeed, John. Shilpa, this has been a very interesting conversation, and you've been very open and honest about what you feel. And I think you actually demonstrate to a large extent the way that believing in yourself makes you the best advocate for what you are and to advocate for other people. On a personal basis, I would love to see you joining in on more of these conversations. And I, look forward to seeing you again, perhaps on screen.
I would love to do that. I would love to do that.
We will make sure that you get it. We will make sure that you get all the invitations and the details. Thank you very much for your time, especially at the time of night that you are now, which must be, what, about 9:30 or so?
Yeah, it's 9:30 here.
Yeah, I thought so. And if I could just finish on a personal note, I wish I was actually in Mumbai, then I would be able to take you out and your family to dinner as a thank you at the Taj Mahal. But
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Perhaps we will manage it one day. Ina, that is as far, I think, as I can go with Shilpa, although sitting down in a private conversation in a room would be fascinating for hours, I think, for all of us. So back to you, Madam President.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. When you tell us your story, all of us can understand, the energy it takes to be different, the energy it takes to find inclusiveness, and the energy it takes to go forward in any way that we have determined would be best for us. So we all feel every part of your story in different ways, but we are all the same. So thank you so much, John Nanni today and John McFarland today. And thank you so much, Shilpa, for sharing everything with us today. We really need it, we appreciate it, and we hear you. Thank you.
Thank you very much for inviting me and hearing my story patiently. Thank you very much.
Look forward
you.
to seeing you again.
Yes, please join us all the time.
And we should talk to her about joining Rotary over there.
Okay, anybody else have anything to say before we sign off for the day? We had a good solid hour, lots of stuff to take in today. Everybody good?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Everyone have a good one. Thank you. Bye
Yes.
now.